People are saying we're losing a generation. And at some point, if this doesn't stop, we will lose a significant part of a generation of people.
The new face of addiction. It's often not what you picture. It's growing, changing, and devastating families. It's a problem that will affect everyone in Arkansas. We can and must do something to end the crisis of addiction. Tonight, we take you on a journey to show you the fight, the impact, and the recovery. We are working to save a generation.
Parker, look at me, taking your picture. Can you sing happy birthday? Happy birthday. Yeah, that's good.
Parker
Sing it again.
was the life of the party. You know, whenever Parker was around, you knew it wasn't going to be a boring time.
When you ride your bicycle.
Yeah. Great big brother. He was a protector of his sisters. Loved to play with Brinley, read her books, and hide her in the closet when she was a baby. He was funny. He loved to make people laugh. And he never walked out the door without giving you a hug and saying, "I love you, Mom." We were very close. He told me lots of things I didn't necessarily want to know. He did start smoking marijuana at 14, and I don't believe that he did much more than that until at least a couple of years later. I think that that drugs began as an escape for him from his ADHD and his anxiety, and I think that had a lot to do with why he used. Our relationship stayed the same. I mean, he wasn't angry, or he still came around. We still talked every day, but it didn't deter him from using drugs. It was just a nightmare. There's just no other way to describe it. It didn't seem real. It still doesn't seem real, even though I've relived it over and over.
Jake was just, he was the kind of guy that all the girls wanted to date him, and all the guys wanted to be him. He loved football. He was a great football player, co-captain of the football team in his junior and senior year. He was a special kid. The first sign that we knew something was actually going on was he and a couple of his buddies were arrested in Alsop Park for purchasing painkillers. And it just started going down from there. For the first time in my life and Jake's life, I saw that he was losing control. his behavior was worse than it's ever been. It was totally out of his body. He was angry. He was visibly impaired, more so than we'd ever seen him. He was belligerent. And these are the characteristics of Jake that weren't ever there. So the plan was, I'll pick you up tomorrow. You know, that's 12 hours too late. And you'll never forget where you were. It's one of those events that just, it's branded into your mind. You know, your world goes pretty dark after that.
My mom always made fun of me because I always wanted to be a ballerina. I took a lot of dance classes and I did dance up until my senior year of high school. My life was it was normal. A lot of my friends were going to U of A in Fayetteville, and I decided that, you know, that's where I wanted to go, and I applied and I got in. I got into a sorority. I got, you know, moved into dorms, I made a lot of friends. I started drinking a lot, and I guess it started attracting like the wrong types of people, and I don't know, I guess I got like the wrong kinds of friends, and then I started trying new things. Whenever I found out that I could sell like my prescription pills, like it attracted wrong people. After I had like gone to college and had to move back home, I started getting involved into harder drugs because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I couldn't make it, you know, I couldn't even get a job, you know, this isn't worth it. And so I started doing heroin. That's when I got addicted. I wanted to chase that feeling of heroin, and then eventually it led to an overdose. They attempted to like get ready to put me in a body bag, and then I woke back up and they said that the person who was on this stretcher yesterday had died from a heroin overdose, and they assumed that that's what I had been doing, and they thought it was too late. When I got to the hospital and I started to feel better, I wanted to stop. I started crying and I was like, I just want this to stop. This is embarrassing. Like, all these people now know that I'm doing this at the hospital, and I don't want to do this anymore. I didn't stay sober the first few times that I tried, but at least I kept doing the work. This person told me to call her every single day, and I did, even though that I was getting messed up. It was like giving me that responsibility of knowing that, you know, hey, I hope you realize you're getting messed up again, you're doing this again. I've been sober since September 18, 2015. I can only worry about it one day at a time. You know, I can't, you know, think about how I might want to relapse next week. I just think about today.
Tell me exactly what happened.
You're overdosing on heroin right now.
Is she breathing normally?
No, not normally.
Okay, and you said she took heroin?
Yes, sir. They're doing CPR on her right now.
Okay, so listen, can you get the phone in there with her?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Keep going.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're here. Thank you, sir.
All right.
I didn't think it was that bad. You know, you kind of hear stories, and and you kind of have a picture of, you know, what what a heroin addict looks like to you. But then you get out there and you realize that it's not what you thought.
It's a guy slumped over out here in his truck. He got syringes on the passenger side of it.
Is he breathing, do you know?
No, sir, I do not know.
It's a problem we often only hear about. But for first responders, it's an epidemic they witness firsthand every single day.
You try not to have any expectations because you never really know what you're going to run into.
According to Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services in Little Rock, the number of overdose calls in which Narcan was administered has more than tripled in the past 4 years.
But heroin seems to be the primary opiate for the overdose. We get pills every once in a while and stuff like that, but usually those are a lot less common.
Some of those calls, repeat victims, a deadly cycle of addiction.
You try to have a coming to Jesus moment with them, and sometimes you're hoping they're responsive and they're hearing you because they were just circling the bucket and you brought them back to life, and it might be an opportune time to, but no, you'll be back.
It's just astounding numbers, but it's also astounding at the number of lives that we lose every single year. And we lose lives not just in terms of because they have passed away, they have overdosed, but also in terms of they are no longer able to function in society, that they have absolutely crippled by their own addictions.
Just to our east, drug overdose deaths have hit an all-time high. Here in Tennessee, the state has seen a significant increase in the number of drug overdose deaths, largely due to the growing use of dangerous synthetic opioids, drugs that are already making their way into Arkansas. Our team traveled to Nashville, Tennessee to meet with Stan Jones, special agent for the DEA. In his 31 years of law enforcement, he says this opioid epidemic is unlike anything he has ever seen.
We're seeing, teenagers in middle school age of young people who are not only becoming addicted, but who are dying.
Jones says the DEA is seeing an increase in dangerous synthetic opioids like fentanyl being shipped into the U.S. from Mexico and China in mass quantities.
Between a 2 and a 3 milligram difference could be the difference between getting high and overdosing and dying.
Fentanyl on the streets is a major concern, but Jones says this epidemic started largely due to overprescribing by pain clinics.
We've gone to this trend of trying to satisfy patients and eliminate pain, and I think unfortunately we have a pendulum of where it's often turned into overprescribing or excessive prescribing.
This is why we have seen this increase in epidemic, is because the sheer volume prescriptions available, the accessibility for young people, for those with addictions to acquire them.
Is he breathing, do you know?
These addictions resulting in scenes like this one.
No, sir, I do not know. We just looked in there for the truck and sitting out there for 2 hours.
This time, a life saved, a second chance to make a difference.
You're giving someone another chance. It's what they do with that chance is their responsibility.
When we're going to these calls, we're seeing these people that's overdosing, and you look at them and they're the same age as your children or your family or nieces, nephews, and it's heartbreaking.
It's a tragic reality for Independence County Sheriff Sean Stevens. In the little over a year since he's been sheriff, he's seen a rise in the number of overdose calls.
If I had to guess, I would say probably an average of 2 to 3, maybe 4 calls a week on overdoses in the county.
Does that surprise you?
No.
In April of 2017, the Independence County Sheriff's Office became the first in the state to receive the opioid antidote Narcan. Since then, officers have saved 8 lives, 2 of them saved by Sheriff Stevens.
I think the last time I looked, I was the only one in the state that that has done that.
It's very gratifying, and it feels like maybe you have a purpose in life, that you're doing something to help prevent that tragedy and another family having to go through it.
Elisa and Scott Lancaster were behind the push to get Narcan into the hands of first responders in Independence County. Their daughter Chelsea's death, the catalyst for their mission. She was just 26 years old when she overdosed on a mix of prescription medications.
We kind of thought we were out there on an island in dealing with this, and we're not on an island at all. It is a tremendously prevalent problem, and it's got to be addressed.
We've kind of changed the name to an epidemic because we have seen epidemic proportions of it.
For the past year, State Drug Director Kirk Lane has been working with the Attorney General's office and several state agencies on securing grants to get Narcan into the hands of law enforcement.
We have about 450 kits out statewide. In the next 3 months, we'll probably have 2,000 or 3,000 kits out there. We've identified 8 counties for 2018 and intend to identify 8 counties each year for the next 5 years.
Since the state began keeping track in 2016, law enforcement armed with Narcan have saved more than 60 lives.
It's a shocking number because of what's going on, but it's also a good number because we may turn our mortality rate that we're seeing on overdose around.
This plaque, a constant reminder of the fight to save lives.
This is part of the fix. There's some other things that need to happen, but we can turn this crisis around.
Game changer. 23-year-old Braylon Campbell looks like your average college student. In his first year at Texas Tech, he's meeting new friends and making good grades. But just a few years ago, his life was far different.
I've probably been arrested more than 20 times just for drugs and alcohol.
The Little Rock native began drinking and using drugs when he was just 14 years old, a downward spiral that eventually led to an addiction.
I thought it was fun at the time, but in reality, what I was doing is I was creating an addiction for myself that I would later have to face in my life.
It was a path of destruction for Campbell. A path that eventually led him to Lubbock, Texas, and the Collegiate Recovery Program at Texas Tech.
Once a person gets in recovery, they're looking for a purpose and a mission in life. They're looking for a second chance. And universities can be those places.
Dr. George Comiskey is the director for the Center of Collegiate Recovery Communities at Texas Tech. The program, which has been in place for over 30 years, gives students in recovery the support they need to succeed in college.
The dean was very supportive of us being a place for people to land and have a second chance. And they knew that many of these students would come either with maybe a GED, maybe having had an attempt at college and crash and burn, which what addiction does to people. So let's give them a second chance.
From weekly recovery meetings to on-campus dorms to a safe space where students can study and hang out. The program currently has 120 students, all on scholarship, thanks in large part to private donors.
If they are struggling with their GPA, then that allows us to override that because they're a person on scholarship, and the scholarship is for them being a person of recovery.
Considered the gold standard of collegiate recovery programs, colleges and universities across the country look to Texas Tech to start recovery programs of their own, including the University of Arkansas.
The model that, I used to get this all started was Texas Tech's model.
3 years ago, Dr. Asher Morgan started the Razorback Recovery Community at the University of Arkansas, an environment for students in recovery to receive support. Morgan admits while the program is small, serving only about 2 to 3 students, there is room for growth.
It's the same with just about any program that you want to see get started. It's staff, it's resources, it's money. We have a dedicated space. Space is awesome. And just getting it out there and letting them know that it's there and letting them know that, hey, this is a safe place that you can come and you don't have to worry about stigma and you don't have to worry about shame.
I think that we've got an opportunity to really, lead the state and really address the issue head on.
Trevor Valines with the Student Government Association says he's been working with the university and state leaders to raise funding and awareness for a more enhanced recovery program, like the one at Texas Tech.
It definitely needs to happen. It probably will take time, and I think if you do it right, then this will save lives.
I feel confident that when we have the information to indicate, and I feel confident that we will, that this is impactful for our community, that we'll have the support of our stakeholders to continue with that.
These collegiate recovery programs already changing the lives of so many, like Campbell, giving him a fresh start and a future.
I pretty much thought that I was destined to continue the same cycle, and this broke it.
Tonight, I've shared with you many stories of loss and recovery, the problem and the fight to find a solution. But there's one story that I haven't shared with you, and that story is mine. On September 16th of 2015, I lost my boyfriend to a heroin overdose. I was blindsided. I had no idea the hold that addiction had on Brock's life, or that it would take his life at the young age of 27. You see, I never thought I would be personally affected by this epidemic. I read the stories, and my heart hurt for those families who lost someone that they loved. But I never thought that this would happen to me. So that is why I'm sharing my story with you tonight. After 2.5 years of keeping quiet, out of fear of shame, guilt, judgment. You see, the reality is this epidemic knows no boundaries. It doesn't care if you're young or old, rich or poor. It doesn't care if you live in a great neighborhood and your kids go to a great school. It doesn't care if you're a news anchor with a blossoming career, planning your life with the man you love. This disease affects us all in one way or another. And this is why I am so dedicated to this fight, and why you have my commitment and the commitment of THV11 to continue to share these stories, to raise awareness, to educate, to eliminate the stigma. We are in this fight together, the fight to save a generation.
We have about 20,000 Arkansans imprisoned right now. And interestingly, there will be 10,000 released over the course of the coming year, and probably around 11,000 arrested and put back in prison. The cycle is just, it's unsustainable, and it's costing us a fortune.
It's so easy to go pick up prescription pills and just let it all fade away. But in the long run, this is what it ends up being, the razor wire on top of the fence.
Everybody's watching every little move you make. It's not something you want to do, I promise you that.
In Arkansas, the recidivism rate is hovering right now around 56%. So what that means is once you're incarcerated, you're more likely to go back to prison than you are to stay free. While there are many of those inmates who are in prison, I'm glad they're in prison, there are a whole lot more who are there as a result of the war on drugs and the issues of substance use in America.
Life at ACC, I mean, it's not peaches and cream, I promise you that. My name is Josh Walker. I'm 36 years old. I'm from Stuttgart, Arkansas. I'm a father of 2 beautiful little girls. I'm a farmer. My family owns a farm. My whole life I've been working, and came back from college. And then I guess when I got hurt and I got on the pill. When I realized that I was addicted was one morning I woke up, and as soon as my feet hit the floor, I snuck in the bathroom at my house and crushed two Roxy 30s down on the back of the toilet. So with my kids and my wife asleep in the next room just to get the day started. Next thing I know, I'm sneaking out at night after I put my girls to bed and drive all the way to Little Rock from Stuttgart, which is an hour drive, and then to get pills, and then drive back fast as I can in the middle of the night, know I gotta go to work next morning, and try to sneak in bed with my wife without her knowing that I left at all.
1408, Sergeant McGraw.
We are coming to the barber shop. I feel like this is a big part of my journey here. Before I was incarcerated, I had grown my hair for 7 years, so I had hair that was about down to here. We have to get one when we come in and get one when we leave, so this is where the magic happens, I guess. My name is Brooke Middleton. I'm 29 and I'm from Conway, Arkansas. I had kind of the normal childhood. I played in the orchestra, so I was like a band geek, you know. I was part of the French club. As I got older though, I started doing the college partying, and then I started working for restaurants and bars, and the drinking became a little bit heavier. I remember one night I was drinking and I went to a friend's house to smoke a little bit of meth, and I saw him shooting up prescription pain meds. And the first time that I tried it, I knew, or I thought to myself, this is probably what's gonna kill me. That was my first thought, but I couldn't stop.
Right now we have, I think, thousands of nonviolent offenders who have offended, who deserve to be penalized, but we're doing it in a way that doesn't help them and costs us a lot of money. The question is, well, what could we do different? How could we approach all of that differently? The Exodus Project is a program that's designed to work with inmates before they're released from prison. And the goal is to help them become equipped to do the things they need to do to become restored to their families.
What can we do to encourage you to believe that you can succeed? To believe that you have value? To believe that, yeah, you got a felony record. That doesn't define you.
The classes that we do are all designed to focus on changing mindset. Now they're topically on different things. And so we have classes on entrepreneurship. We have classes designed on mobilizing your personal resources and how to make a plan and how to execute the plan. We have classes on manhood and parenting.
Something that you do that makes you happy, that you know, like he said, when did he feel like he was a success? When he opened the door, you know, when he opened his door.
He saw how Clifton picked all that up just by being with him in that truck and at the ice house and listening to him.
And some people, everybody's looking for us to fail. So if we fail again, I mean, it's going to be hard to come back from. You know, I mean, I know you got to keep trying. And like I said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but it's going to be hard to even take a shot.
There are a lot of problems that we face as a society that are bigger than we are. This is one of them. This is a problem where we're going to be better if we work together.
At the end of this program, where do I want to see myself? I want to see myself with a strong relationship with God. I want my thinking, my criminal thinking, I want to be able to control it. I want to be able to control my addiction. I have a chance, you know, I mean, it's a big deal.
In my mind, I'm going to stay clean.
Tell me this, guys. How many of you genuinely want to stay clean when you get out? Because you're going to be down there, down a dirt road, I imagine.
No.
Down a paved road. I'm good. Down a gravel road. But you're going to be where there's not a lot of support. That's what I'm saying. Be hard for us to scoop you up if anything went wrong.
My name is Kathy McConnell, and I'm an instructor at the Exodus Project. I teach young men and women about recovery and reentry. All of my friends, when I first started doing this, thought I was absolutely crazy to put myself in this danger. I never knew what they were talking about. I think that any one of these guys here would do anything I ask them to do, or I always say I have the best bodyguards in the world. I think they would tell you that I was straightforward, that I don't put up with anything in class, that I mean business, that I have their best interest at heart, and that I'm a good cook. My son is 32, and he's been using since he was about 14. And I spent many years in a very dark place. I spent the first few years in total denial, and then I spent many years fixing him. I had to get right with myself and understand that I have no control over what that young man does. And this is my way of healing and giving back. It's my 12-step work. And by doing this for 3 years, it has healed the hole that I had in me.
I'm really not here to make friends. I mean, along the way, I do have some buddies in here that I'm real cool with, but I'm really just focused on being a better person so I don't have to come back to a place like this. I'm Jeremy Hall, I'm 28 years old. I grew up like in a drug-infested neighborhood. My mom was a crack cocaine addict, my dad was a crack cocaine addict. I started to sell because in my mind, I always told myself I never wanted to be addicted to drugs, so I kind of fell on the other side of the map with selling drugs. My lowest point really was when my twin died. He was in a wreck. He ran into the back of a 18-wheeler on opiates. I kind of felt like it's a void that I'd be trying to fill with. I started selling more drugs when my twin got killed because it did something to me. I just want to live like a normal individual because I'm tired of living this lifestyle, tired of coming back, coming to jail, tired of, telling my kids I love them over the phone. I need to be able to do that in person.
That's wonderful, bro.
You're not supposed to like this place, and they're doing a really good job of making it to where I don't like it. Hi, my name's Adam Nelson. I'm 33 years old, from Fort Smith, Arkansas. I like to joke around, real playful, sometimes too much, but I like to shine a little bit, you know.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
You know,
come on, man. I didn't come from a broken home. I didn't use drugs because something happened to me or I was treated bad as a kid. I had a good life. It started out with oxycodone, then went to heroin and other stuff, and then using drugs in between it, as a crutch for that drug when, you couldn't find it. Eventually started to sell drugs to pay for my drug habit. The first time I ever did heroin, I did it intravenously, and it took me to cloud 9, and then I woke up and I was in the ambulance, and they were screaming at me, and I'd feel them hit my chest again, and I woke up, and she's screaming at me, and she's go, "What'd you take? What'd you take?" And I said, "Heroin." And I went back out, woke up again, I was in the hospital. I called my mom from county jail because it just come over me real strong to apologize to her, And of course she instantly forgave me, and it touched her that, I thought about just some of the wrong stuff that I had done to her. So we were talking about people, places, and things, and I could just see a little vision of her pop up in front of me and go, "See, I told you." It was me understanding, It was like her popping up in my head. It was really me understanding that what she was talking about.
I looked at these young men. I see my son. My son's not a bad guy. I tell him I don't want to pick up the paper and read their name. I don't want to do it. Because the reality is that in my heart, I'm afraid this is what will happen to my son.
This is basically our playground. This is the most freedom we get during our day. A lot of us will get out here on the volleyball court and play volleyball. I know a bunch of felons playing volleyball doesn't sound like the truth, but
you can tell up in the wire there's a few volleyballs.
Yep, we've gone through a couple of volleyballs. Yeah, this is it. This is the closest taste of freedom that we get while we're here. And we only get an hour a day.
We're not the ACC, we're not the state of Arkansas, we're not their guards, and we believe in their potential. And we believe in it because we believe in our own. In the first 2 or 3 weeks, they don't really buy all that. They're just kind of wondering. But after about the 4th week, it starts to sink into them that we're serious. And we've got lots of graduates coming in and out who are successful. And that's enormously encouraging.
My uncle that was successful called me Catfish, and my grandpa that was successful went by Jimmy. So when I went to name the shop, I wanted to name it after successful people in my life, and I named it Catfish Jimmy. I was raised in drugs. I started using when I was 13. Started selling when I was young. Pretty much lived my whole life revolved around drugs and addiction. Benzos and Valiums and Xanax and Klonopins and any drug I could get my hand on, I would do it. I didn't want to be a tattoo artist if that's not what God wanted me to be. And God said, man, you're the perfect tool for me. You can go places where a lot of people can't. You can reach people that a lot of people can't reach. And I was like, okay, you put it on my heart. And I was like, well, I'm gonna use my tattoo shop for my testimony and my ministry as well. It says, we admit that by ourselves we are powerless over chemical substances and that our life has become unmanageable. That's on page 9. I teach the Conquering Chemical Codependency class. And it's a crash course, 12-week program on the 12-step program. But it's faith-based. I don't speak above them. I don't talk like I'm better than them. I'm one of them. I'm going through the steps with them. I'm doing the program with them. And we share the same past. We share the same stories. Whether you was doing good for a while on parole and something came back and bit you in the butt, whether you failed a drug test once for something, or whether you got popped with something. Drugs were involved somehow in destroying your life and separating you from the ones you love. So you have a problem. Every one of your family members and friends that are sober aren't going to want nothing to do with you. But that's where God's pretty awesome, because He restores those relationships. A lot of times when you're at the bottom of the barrel, you think nobody cares. And that place really shows them there's a lot of people out here in a lot of different places that care and want to see them do better in life and become a part of the community. Because if I'm not hanging out with the same people that think like that, I'm not going to be thinking like that, especially if I am focusing on, like I said earlier, changing that stinking thinking. And then, you're going to think, oh, well, I've been locked up and I know what addiction can do now, so maybe if I just do it this once, I'm going to be all right. Like, I can have me a Busch Light and smoke a joint, you know what I'm saying? But that ain't going to work, bro. Over the weeks, I've seen them change. I've seen the look in their eyes change. I've seen their actions change. I've seen them become more involved in the classwork and in talking in the group discussions. And I've seen guys that don't talk on the unit, don't talk during class. The first few weeks, they completely open up, and they're the ones that don't stop talking. Like once they open up, they break down those walls and those barriers and start working those steps. They change, and you can see the light just ignite in them.
Cool dude. He's been through the ringer, you know, and the fact that he's been through it all and he comes and gives his testimony, then, and like he said, if he can make it back, anybody can make it back. You know, he did a lot of hard time. I mean, he's one of the guys that kind of give me the inspiration to, he's giving back. You know, he's not getting anything out of it except for what he gets in his heart for himself. And man, I dig it. I dig what he's doing.
Well, they passed around some pictures yesterday in a class we had of some people that were on some kind of, I don't know, crocodile, alligator, some kind of drug, and they just looked I mean, and I was thinking, when I seen that picture of that girl,
bro, right here.
Just look at that picture.
Let me see that. Look a little rough there. Night and day, bro. You were sunk up when you came in here. You hear me?
That is terrible.
Yeah. I just want to let you know you don't look like that anymore. That makes you feel better.
Hey, listen, you turn the camera off now.
That would have been up there with catfishes. You don't have to be a low life your whole life. You don't have to be a low life your whole life.
I want to make the world better. You know, I want to help people. I want to share love. I want to spread life amongst the world. You know, being here and getting to know myself and learning to love myself has allowed me to see other people who are where I used to be and who haven't learned how to do that, you know, and that's my wish, is for everyone to learn to love themselves like God's shown me to love myself. I really think that's the whole issue with addiction, is not understanding that. Do you think it'd be okay if I made a phone call?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
Come on in.
Mom?
Hello.
Hey Mom, how are you?
I'm ready to come get you.
I'm ready for you to come get me too.
Yeah. Are you nervous?
No, not at all. I feel great.
Oh, good. Good. Well, I'm getting ready to come. I'm going to get a few of your things together and bring to you so you'll have some good clothes to wear out.
Awesome. Today I'm kind of at a place of peace, which is like rare for me. You know, being an addict, I feel like that's the primary problem that we have, is that we have, you know, so much emotion and pain and thought, and we don't know what to do with it. You know, so it just kind of swirls around inside of us, and it doesn't have an outlet. So to be at a place of peace today is just, it's an awesome feeling. It's very liberating.
Brooke's never been this far before. Maybe he will do better this time. And you know, it's real hurtful sometimes to say, I don't think that he'll do better. And sometimes I do feel like that. You know, and I don't want to discourage him, and I don't want him to think I don't have hope in him or faith in him. But it is hard sometimes to say, I think he'll be okay.
You know, you got to take a risk. You know, you got to reach out there and step outside your comfort zone.
Really, I'm really just trying to squash all my fears. I'm trying to face all of them. This was a fear for me coming here. But when I get out, my fear is really just getting back adjusted to the world, because I've been gone about a year.
Jeremy has always been vocal. He's never had a problem, you know, just letting people know who he is and what he plans to do. But there's also been this loneliness to him, you know, having to being moved from Memphis to Arkansas.
Coming up, I felt always alone. Like I can be in a room with 100 people and still feel alone, because I feel like don't nobody understand me. I kind of felt like the outcast.
One of the most beautiful things that I hear him say is just how he wants to come back to excess, how he wants to mentor, how he will do that.
I don't want this to be the last place I end up before I leave this world. I want to see the world. I want to go some places. I want to do a whole lot of more stuff that I ain't been doing.
Yeah.
So to do that, I need to do some stuff I ain't never did before.
If I had to stay inside this building all day long, I would go crazy.
These are state issue clothes. This is just another part of showing you that you're just a number. You know, you're not a person. Everybody's gonna abide by the same dress code. They take that. That's one thing they take from you is your individuality. You're not an individual here.
You know what I miss on a day like today? Man, I miss some fleece flannel pajamas and you know what I'm saying? Thermal top and get my house shoes and just kick back. That's what I miss. I can't wait to get in something other than this.
10 to 6.
What's the time?
We were told one time that Josh was dead, about 6 months before our youngest son had OD'd, when they brought him back.
One of the things that shocked me was how big the problem is, and people have no idea.
It's serious.
It's a big deal.
You can't put it in words.
It can't be put in words.
I want my dad and my mom to be able to say they're proud of me. And I'd love for them just to smile for once. The only thing since I've got my addiction that I haven't quit on is drugs. I've quit on my family, my friends, any responsibility that I've had. So I'm not gonna quit on this.
Here, and sometimes it take come to places like this just to wake up and smell the coffee. Like, we not only hurting ourselves, we hurting our kids, our family that depend on us, and everything else, man. We really, all leaders of society, we just was doing the wrong thing. Even the people who ain't in yellow right now, everybody make mistakes. It's just, you know, about dusting yourself off and trying again.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna go take it to the crash gate. I'll get you your clothes for baby boomers, get changed out. And about 10 o'clock, I'll call you out and you'll be out the door.
Sounds good to me.
All right, man.
I am excited to rebuild these relationships with my family and my loved ones. I feel like that's such an important part of life that I've been missing out on due to my addiction. So I'm blessed to be able to do that.
There he is. Oh my gosh, freedom. Freedom! How are you? So glad to see you. You have clothes on. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, honey.
You look really nice.
Thank you. Doing okay today?
Yes. I don't think
Ready?
there's any way I could be doing any better in my life today. Physically, I found myself in prison, but that's what it took for me to realize how mentally imprisoned I was. And so this experience has helped me to break those chains that I didn't even know I was wearing for so long and find freedom I've never known.
I'm going through all my college stuff and all the stuff that I don't need anymore, but I want to save because I want to go to it for a reference because I still have time before I get released from here, and I don't want to forget some of the stuff that I went through. So I'm putting away all the stuff that I need to take with me that I want to remember, and then also I'm working on my speech for graduation. So there's no reason for me to go back to the life that I've been living. It's a scary process. If I sit up here in front of y'all and said that I wasn't scared, it'd be a lie. And that's definitely a thing that I've learned, that it's good to be scared. Today is graduation for term 29 Exodus Project.
You been being good? Well, just ready to talk and tell, everybody, the things the program has done for me.
Hello, my name is Adam Nelson. And I want to thank everybody for coming out today. What I'm up here to talk about is change and the process and the growth of change. See, behind these doors, week by week and month by month, after day by day, we peeled back layers and we got to the core issues of what's really going on. And I found out that I had a lot of pain inside of me and that I had to let that go. I chose to speak about change because change is something that we all have to go through. It's all a process, it's all a growth. And it's hard. There were tears shed in these rooms, You know you're getting into some deep stuff when you got to shut the door and your teacher goes, all right, everything that happens in this room stays in this room. But you're not hiding a dead body. You're crying, grown men crying. Look, can I get everybody to stand for just a second? My Exodus brothers only. If you want to know what change looks like through the eyes of the Exodus Project, look at us. That's all I got to say.
I've been locked up since February 5th, and when I get out, I'll be out for life. I might not be where I want to be in life, but I'm sure not where I used to be. Things happen for a reason, and it's a reason for the season. It's time to be out for life. It's time to realize when I take things for granted, the things I've been granted will be taken. It is time for me to take full accountability of all my actions and stop blaming the society and my childhood. The Exodus Project is a program that has taught me that I am not the only one who has failed and needs help. Thank you, family. That's all I have.
We worked really hard on this, guys. I mean, I'm nervous because this is hard for us to talk about. This means a lot to us. I'm here today to tell you about hope and what it means and how Exodus helped me find it. Before I got here, everyone I cared about had gotten away from me because I was self-destructing. My ex-wife knows all about that. I had lost everything, including everyone I loved, including my family. My mom, my dad were having problems. Both of their sons were in jail, guys, and things have gotten dark. Whenever you're addicted, me and my brother both, we put my parents through hell. I don't know where they are, but I just want to tell them, hey guys, I love you guys, man. I've been locked up for 18 months. I haven't even talked to my best friend, who is my ex-wife, in a long time, or got to tell my two little girls how much I love them. But since I've been in Exodus, my faith in God and myself and my relationships have been restored. To my two little girls, I have something to say. My dad killed himself when I was 16, and I told myself I would never do that to my kids. I'd never do that. Guys, I killed myself with addiction. I turned my back on my kids, and I said I would never leave them, and like he left me, here I am for that, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to them. I know they're not here, but maybe they'll get to see this one day. One night laying in bed, it was storming, and my little girls wake up, and they can't see me because they just woke up, it's dark, and they said, "Daddy, are you there?" And I said, "Yes, baby, I'm here." And they said, "Daddy, is your face turned towards me?" "Yes, baby, my face is turned towards you." And they went back to sleep. Even though they can't see me now, I just want them to know my face is still turned towards them. And I love them forever. Last, guys, I gotta say, I came to prison to find my freedom. I can't give you what I have, but I can tell you where to find it. It's at Exodus and Out for Life. Out for life, it doesn't just mean out for the rest of our lives. It also means out to live life. So to all my Exodus brothers, let's get out for life. I love all you guys, man. Love you too, Josh.
I feel like we just won the championship game. That's how I feel. If I could have champagne, I would, No, I'm just playing. I'm non-alcoholic nowadays, so. I'm proud of you. Thank you, baby.
I had a lot to say to my mom, my dad, my brother, and my ex-wife that I've told them, but I felt like a public apology, and in this setting that how it was more beneficial for me. Like, I know they needed to hear it, but I needed to get it off my heart. So now, I feel better, I'm actually starting to be able to forgive myself.
Exodus Project is really just showed me don't let my past define me. Yes, I come from a rough neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee, but that's not where I'm at right now. That's not where I'm trying to go. So I feel like, you know, I'm being the person that my brother wants me to be.
This is a fight to get back out of it. I mean, it's not even like I've been in fights. This is a war. It's really a war. Things have changed, and it's all because of this place, and I'm indebted for the rest of my life.
You know, I like to do everything for everybody and impress everybody and all that, but this time it wasn't about that. It was a selfish move to change myself so I could change for my family and change my whole life as a whole. With that being said, Adam Nelson's out for life. Microphone drop, I'm out.